Welcome to the Her Story Circle podcast, the podcast that brings you the extraordinary tales of everyday women who are changing the world. I'm your host, Gertrude Mache, and I'd like to acknowledge traditional custodians of the land on which we meet today. I also like to pay my respects to elders, past, present, and emerging. Every week, we dive into the lives, challenges, and triumphs of women from all four corners of the globe. We're here to inspire, enlighten, and connect, sharing stories that uplift and empower. So grab a cup of coffee, settle in, and join us as we explore the incredible journeys of women shaping our future. This is Her Story, where every woman's voice matters. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Her Story Circle. This is Gertrude Mache here in beautiful Melbourne, Australia. And today I am graced with the presence of yet another fascinating woman. Welcome, welcome, welcome to our tribe. Please tell everybody your full name, where you're based, how old you are, and share your story with us today.
Hello, everyone. My name is Maria Fernanda Ferreira. I'm Brazilian. I would say I like to say Afro-Brazilian. And I'm 43 years old. I live in Sydney, in Australia. And I would like to share my story with you all. So I grew up in Brazil. I was raised in a place called São Vicente, which is in the coast of São Paulo. I would say, it's a very humble area in Brazil. And I grew up basically in the favelas of Brazil, like with a crazy, I would say, crazy neighborhood where we can see absolute everything. And I'm also a daughter of an incredible woman, which inspires me every day with her strength, with her stories of bravery, and yes, so that's what made me to be like a determined woman, someone who wants to change, like a story that happened to my mom. I didn't want it to happen to me. So, and that's why when I was about 16, 17, I told my mom that I would like to move overseas and learn another language, and that would happen very soon. So 10 years later, after working for a multinational company in exporting, importing, I asked them to send me overseas, and that didn't happen. They just said, like, look, you don't speak English, you don't come from like a high up education, like a university. Therefore, we can't send you overseas. I know you've been doing like incredible work here for this company, but there are other people in front of you that have a little bit more, like knowledge in terms of language and things. I was like, okay, no problem. And I thought to myself, I'll make my way there. So, and that's what I did. So I asked them to write to me like a letter, like about the work I've done for the company, and that I want to leave the company after 12 years of working for them, because I knew they had an office in Australia, and that's where I want to come. And like, oh, are you leaving? I says, yeah, I'm leaving. Like I had a great opportunity here, but I think I had enough. Yeah, and then I made my way to Australia. And then when I arrived here, like, of course, I couldn't speak the language. I came with like zero English, and I learned it, like through school, working as a bartender, like doing waitressing. And then when I felt confident with the language after a year, that's when I contact the same company and I said, look, I'm in Australia and I know there is an office here. And I was wondering if you guys would have uh, a job like there for me. And they're like, you aware? Like, I'm in Australia. And they're like, oh my goodness, you so determined. You made your way there. I was like, yes, that's what I did. Uh, and I would love to stay in Australia, but I need a sponsor. And yeah, I think they liked that determination on me, and they basically created a role for me here as a business assistant, business contract administrator. And yeah, so I worked for the company for about 4 years, and that's how I got my citizenship, was through them. And yeah, so I just like to share this story, like, with all women out there, to don't give up on your dreams. Like, if it's something that you want to do, don't let anyone stop you. Find your way, because especially, like, as a woman of color, I think we have so much strength. We are so fearless. And yeah, so here I am in Sydney, Australia, and I've been here for 17 years now. I absolutely love this country, and I am now a mother of a 4 years old girl, and I really want to pass everything to her, everything that I learned, like this bravery, determination, and yeah. So that's my story.
Oh, Maria, your story is absolutely incredible. Your determination is just in a class of its own. You knew you wanted to leave Brazil, you wanted to come to Australia, they wouldn't give you the job, and you set out on a mission to create an opportunity for you, just by having that courage. Where does that conviction come from?
Uh, I'd say from my ancestors, like, um, as you know, Brazil is you know, they have, in Brazil, we have the biggest population outside Africa. So we were taken from Africa, you know, uh, and and we had to fight, for our freedom. And I think that's where it came from, from that courage came from my ancestor who fight, to maintain their own country, like, or to be free, you know, from the Portuguese who colonized, like, Brazil, and that, travel all the way to, all part of Africa, West Africa, and took, like, the and and also they wanted the most strong, like, I would say, child, because they took, kids that were like 8 years old, like, so they wanted the most strong, people, and
Oh, yeah.
they brought them to you, and I'm part of it, I'm part of
Yeah.
this most strong people. And I think that, yeah.
It actually just goes to show that a lot of people forget the strength and the resilience that is already in their DNA. And
Yes.
that's where you draw your strength in just knowing that, Your ancestors went through so much to be taken as slaves to Brazil. For you to show up in 2024 as you, it runs in your blood, right?
That's right.
Absolutely amazing. Now, I have seen pictures, I've watched videos about the favelas of Brazil. It is a tough place to grow up. That's where most of all of the drug cartels are operating. Tell us a little bit about that experience and how you survived it.
Yes, it is a crazy place to grow up, I would say. Um, I basically we had to, be home like a certain time. I would say like from 10 p.m. My mom wouldn't allow me to be, like on the street, because we could hear like fire guns, you know, um, and we also like you wouldn't mess it up with like with like the drug dealers whatsoever. Like you would basically, but they also protect us, like for example, where I grew up, if somebody went there to steal anything from us, like
Yes,
that person would be killed straight away. Why? Because first of all, because that person would attract police and they didn't want that. And
right,
because we are part of that neighborhood, no one should mess it up, with us. So we
right.
are actually like we felt like we were more protected by them than from like than the police. So and that's yeah. And yeah, it was crazy, like I've seen so many things. I've seen people being killed, like um I've seen, yeah, people being uh taken to jail. I've seen it as a child, which is crazy, things that we shouldn't experience
It's
as a child.
experience.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but I think that made me like be a little bit more aware of the world. I'm
yes,
like, I consider myself a very like street smart.
yeah,
you
yeah,
know um but yeah, it's also sad that that happened, still today.
yeah. In this day and age, it's
Yeah.
such a tragedy. Now, tell us about your experience when you first got to Australia. You are a woman of color. This is a very challenging environment for any immigrant, let alone a woman of color coming out alone and trying to find work and to settle in. Tell me, how did you manage to achieve that?
Wow. When i when i came to Australia, I try not to think much about um finding people that look like me, because for me I was just like, as soon I got in the plane and I saw, like I couldn't see, many people that look like me. I was like, okay, so that should be my first, like
Yeah.
um sort of thinking. I shouldn't think, like that. And so when I started looking for a job, and I experienced like few things, which is crazy. There was one time that I went for an interview, and this guy, first of a lady came to greet me, and it was like family business. It was really nice, and she, you know, a white woman, say like, I don't know, somewhere like in Europe. She said, "Oh, let me grab my dad." So when he came to see me, straight away, he looked at me and then said, "Where do you come from?" And then
Yeah.
I said to him, I come from, at that time I was living in a suburb called Bondi Junction. I said the name of the suburb. I said, I come from Bondi Junction. That's where I live. Like, and he looked like, you know what I mean? I said, no, I don't know what you mean. You asked me where I come from, and that's where I came
Yes.
from, you know.
Yes.
So that's what I encountered like few times. There wasn't only once, but again, I was like, no, I'm not gonna say anything about my where I come from, like the country I come from,
Mm.
anything, you know, because
Yeah.
that they should not like judge me by that,
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
and then like, but every when I saw like that person was feeling very uncomfortable with me, like
Mm.
I just, straight away I stopped the interview. I said, look, let's not waste anyone's time. You did, it's clear that you didn't like, and I can't work for someone who doesn't like me. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like,
That
I didn't
doesn't make
waste,
sense.
it doesn't make sense. I didn't want to waste my time,
Yeah.
and so I just kept going, until like I found a place that, accept me for what I can do and for
Uh,
who I am. You know what I mean? Like, yeah.
that is just crazy. So you have been working in a number of different aspects of business. How do you integrate your expertise in learning and development into fostering organizational growth and team effectiveness?
Yeah, so my background is in exporting importing industry. I did business administration with that specialization in international trade.
Right.
So, and which is a very fast paced dynamic, like world. I absolutely love it, you know. But what I found myself in every company that I worked, that I absolutely love being a team, and I also like to develop people,
Yes.
um like I try to see the best in everyone,
Yeah.
like, yeah, that person is really good on that person's really good on that, like, and I try to develop that. I am very passionate about it, you know and I try to transfer, like that skill into also like a customer service. Like, for example, when I am dealing with customers, like especially like if it's I absolutely love angry customers, just like, like, because I like that challenging. I like to turn that angry customer into a loyal,
Fun.
happy customer,
I love that.
yeah. And I do that through, yeah, through my skills of, dealing with people, all sort of people, because I work, like, that's my background, exporting, importing. I have to deal with the whole world. I
Wow.
was like, in Brazil, I export like coffee, orange juice, sugar, and alcohol. Brazil is like in the top, in terms of commodities, agriculture. So I had to deal with the world, and then I brought that skill into, I bring into wherever I go, like,
Yes.
uh, yeah. So it comes quite easily for me now, you know.
Mhm. Tell me, and let's go back a little bit and let's talk a little bit about your family, your mom. You mentioned that you wanted to make sure that you would never find yourself in the same position your mother was in. Are you an only child? How many children did your mother have? Tell us about your family background.
Okay. Yeah, my mom, she had three kids, so
Mhm.
I'm the middle one. I have
Okay.
I have two brothers, from the same mother, one oldest, one younger, and I also have a step sister from my dad's second marriage.
Right.
Um, and yeah, so my mom, she very like protective woman. She likes to protect her kids. Like, if like for her, if it was for her, I would be around her, you know, like, but my mom, she just she thinks that black people, like people of color, she still thinks that the way we should behave is like, we can't go, like she thinks that we shouldn't cross a line, you know what I mean? And
Okay.
I don't blame her, because, like the way she was raised during that time, like, you didn't, like, yeah, you would like turn put your head down for white people, like,
Yes.
um but at the same time, uh I could see that she wanted to do more, she wanted to do more, but she thought like, nah, we shouldn't mess it up with, people there have more power than us, you know what I mean? Like,
Right.
yeah. But
Yeah.
I could feel like, like my mom, she, if anyone mess it up, especially with her kids, she would turn into like a lion, like,
Lioness.
yeah. So, um, yeah, and like when I saw that she wanted to do more, but she had like, like that limitation thought, I was
Yes.
like, no, no, mom, I'll take, like that thought that you have with that bravery, with that courage, you know, and then I will break this cycle.
And you did. You
Yeah,
did. And now you have a little daughter who you are going to be an amazing role model for. I'm
yeah,
pretty sure your daughter is going to learn a lot from just how you are being, correct?
absolutely. Like if,
Mhm.
yeah, like depend on me, like she'll be, oh my God, she'll like way, way better than me. Like,
Yeah.
yes.
And you are in a biracial relationship. How has that played out, being here in Australia? Because that adds another dynamic and another layer to your story, correct?
Correct. Yes. Yeah, I'm married to an Englishman. Tim, we've been together for 12 years. I wouldn't say it's always flowers. No, especially being in an interrelation relationship, it's
Yeah.
challenging from, like day one. Um, but we like lots of respect for each other, for each other's, uh, like, culture, um, and family, like we basically, we have same sort of like values, I would say.
Yes.
Like family, it's a big one for us. So Tim and I, we both value family. We both value like time together. We also value like trust and have space each other. We make sure each other have our own space, like to
Mhm.
empty our cups, not to bring like to empty, because we have so many, thoughts and things. Sometimes you have to like, just stay quiet and have your own space. We make sure we both have that. And yeah, so I think respect and love for each other, like it's the number one thing, like that's, and then that can, it's not easy, but it's possible.
Yeah. Yeah. That is so inspiring. Very, very inspiring. So, if I could take you now back to the younger Maria, that young woman who had visions, who had dreams, was on a quest to change her life. If you could go back and give her three nuggets of wisdom based on what life has taught you up until this point, what would those three nuggets of wisdom be?
Number one, um, listen, um, listen to your heart. You know,
Hmm.
listen to your heart. And number two, take don't take life too serious. Don't take life too serious.
Yes.
Because I basically like I raised my younger brother, because my mom had to work. He's like 10 years apart. I lost my dad when I was very little. I was 12. So, and because of that, I didn't have much choice.
Didn't have much
Like,
good.
much choice in terms of not taking life seriously.
Yeah.
But then I kept going. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. So, yeah, don't take life too seriously. Like, and number three, it's not about who you want to be. It's what you want to do. Because people, like, they tend to ask kids what you want to be when you.
Mm.
And I think this is such a wrong message. It's not who you want to be, it's what you want to do. Because I think the most important thing is to be a human being, because
Yes.
most of people in this world, they're just human, you know
Yeah.
and like, it's who what you want to do, you know what you want to do when you grow up. And
Yes.
human being, always being a human being, like, look at the world, look at people, and be the best what you can,
Be the best version of yourself, right?
best version of yourself,
Yes.
definitely. Yes, that's what another one that I would do. Be the best version of yourself.
Mm, mm,
Because we, like, as a kid, we grew up, i i i I want to, let's say, I want to be, I'd say, like, a business woman, so I'll do, like, everything I can. I always, like, I study, I want to be go to the best university, da, da, da. And you forget, you know of
yeah,
being the version of yourself.
I
You
love that.
work on your values, and
Mm,
yeah.
I love it. All right, my last question. I now want to have a little thought experiment with you, and I'm going to teleport you into the future. And you're
Okay.
going to go and meet the 90-year-old you. You're 90 years old. You're sitting in your rocking chair, surrounded by your children, your grandchildren, your dogs, and your cats. If I could take you into the future to have a conversation with this wise woman who has led you to this point, what would you say to her when you finally meet her?
I would say, Maria, you um you are an inspiring woman. You didn't give up on your dreams.
Yes.
You um you are the best version of yourself.
Mhm.
Keep dancing.
Oh, I love that.
Keep
I
dancing.
love that. Oh man, Maria, thank you so much for coming online, and I can see that you will be dancing right up until the end.
Yes, yes.
Thank you for who you are being. Thank you for showing up as you on the Her Story Circle podcast. We're looking for women who are uplifting, inspiring, energizing. Your story is truly one of somebody who was a believer in her dreams. You stepped out on faith and left Brazil, came to a foreign country by yourself, created the job that you wanted while you were in Brazil, here in Australia. Absolutely incredible story. Thank you so much, Maria.
Thank
It's
you
an
so
honor
much.
to have this interview with you.
Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure.
Thank you to everybody who's tuned in today. I will be back again tomorrow with yet another amazing story. In the meantime, have a fantastic day, morning, or evening, wherever you are in the world, and bye for now. Thanks again, Maria. Thank you
Bye.
for tuning into the Her Story Circle podcast. I hope today's story has inspired you to believe in the power of our stories and the difference you can make in the world when you use your voice. I'm Gertrude Mache, and it's been an honor to share this space with you, where voices from all walks of life come together to weave a rich tapestry of diverse perspectives. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review our podcast to help us share these stories with more listeners. Follow us on social media by looking for the Her Story Circle podcast for more updates. And join us tomorrow for another episode filled with courage, resilience, and empowerment. Remember, your story matters, and together we're building a stronger, more inclusive world. Until next time, keep making her story.